Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Black and White Gaming's Game Club. I'm your host, Peter Hoy, with John Longaluco, a.k.a. Johnny Bag of Donuts.
How you guys doing?
And Devon Colbert, a.k.a. The Colbert 12.
Hey, man, I thought we were calling one, but you know what? That's okay. We'll do a different one every time. So I'm down.
Piccolo's older brother this time we'll go with.
Yes.
There we go. We'll go with that one.
What are you guys doing?
What is the Game Club? The Game Club is where we pick a game and we play a chunk of it each week, and then we discuss that chunk. For our second season, we are playing Deadly Premonition, developed by Axis Games. This beautiful masterpiece of a video game has been giving us quite the experience.
Giving us the runs. That's what it's giving us.
Last week, we had to interrogate some diner owners. We had to find out why Olivia was at the art gallery when, if she liked trees, she could just go into the forest.
It's that simple.
Right?
That simple.
It's that simple.
Fucking
Why
easy.
go look at paintings of trees when you live in the middle of a forest?
Facts.
We then learned some truth about what Nick, Olivia's husband, has been doing behind her back with Diane, the art gallery owner. That's right. We met Diane, the art gallery owner, the power woman in town.
Diane getting that dirty Nick.
In the midst of learning the truth from Olivia, we got a call saying that we had to get to Becky's house. When we raced to Becky's house, what did we find? Becky's soon-to-be corpse strung up. We would then play into the killer's hand, and she would perish. And we did find her diary, which told us that we needed to go talk to Isaac and Isaiah because they had the locket that Becky removed from Anna's hand. That is our lead, and that is where we will be picking it up today. Before we jump right into everything that happened, I just want to gauge your thoughts on this week's section. Just your general thoughts, guys.
Instantly, my brain went.
York is a psychopath. I'm still going down that road.
Adventurous is what I would say. Adventurous. Like, in my head, adventurous. Definitely.
Okay. All right. Let's dive in, fellas. Chapter starts off. We are speaking with Keith and Lily Ingram, the parents of Isaac and Isaiah.
Rock on, man.
Keith is still snapping his fingers, still rocking on. He's still doing his thing. York is asking them about Becky.
When did Becky stop coming to work?
I think it was like from the day Anna was killed, man. Yeah, that's right. She was totally depressed about something.
Quint called for her to let us know she wasn't coming in for work. She must have been totally in shock, the poor thing.
We move on to asking about Isaac and Isaiah.
You told me about a special secret between your children and Becky.
Yes, of course. What about it?
It seems Becky handed them an item before she was killed. Any idea what that might be?
Now that you mention it, they had a box about this size which they said was very important.
That's it. I'd like to talk to them about this in person. Where are the boys now?
You find out that they are with Mr. Kaysen.
Yucking it up.
Forrest Kaysen. Apparently, that man comes to town often enough and talks to the Ingrams enough where they feel comfortable letting that man watch their children.
Dude, we haven't even seen them be with their own children at all.
Facts.
Yeah, I don't think.
At all.
Like,
Remember, John was like, I don't even know if York's an FBI agent. He's over here like, I don't even know if they're their parents.
Right.
yeah. What is this game? I don't even know if this is even a game.
During this conversation, the mother of Anna strolls on into the store. Sally Graham, she is not right in the head. She is not stable. You can tell that right off the bat. She is looking for Sally's dress.
Where could it be? Her dress. Oh, Sally.
I mean, anybody would, I'm like making fun of her for being crazy, but I think anyone would probably lose their mind after their daughter just got murdered and no one's found out who it is yet.
And not just murdered,
It's just like,
put on a spectacle.
Right.
Unless
Fucking
she's
on
the
display.
killer. Dun, dun, dun.
no, you think York's the killer, so.
That is the short list.
The next location is the community center. That's where we got to go to find Isaac and Isaiah. You drive on over there. And when you can't find the marker, you park right outside the community center, and Emily tells you, well, I'm going to go on ahead if you're going to do your own thing. And then you drive 10 feet around the corner.
I'm pretty sure that happened to me.
To trigger,
as well.
to trigger the event. And then Emily took the credit for finding Isaac and Isaiah. It's like, I was right here. I dropped you off. The kids are playing with Willie, and Forrest Kaysen is off to the side. You can see him in the background.
The kids are playing with Kaysen's Willie?
All right, I'm head out.
Oh, God.
I'm head out, dude. Can't do Willie like that, dude. No.
What did Willie ever do to you?
Someone had to say it.
You know, just presented itself.
York asks about the special secret with Becky.
Could you perhaps tell me your other special secret with Becky?
No, we can't. It won't be a secret if we tell. I'm not telling. We promised Becky.
York tricks them.
Yeah. Stupid kids.
And says,
Well, that's a problem. Because I also made a promise to Becky. A promise to catch the bad man. But I can't keep my promise if I don't know what the secret is. Do you see?
Start doing this stupid ass talking to each other with like their hands covering over their mouth, and I don't even think they're making noises. I don't even think at the point it's weird.
no, they're not. The kids agree to tell York the special secret, and it was that Becky gave them the box to give to Diane. As they were leaving to bring the box to Diane, Becky called them back, gave them the locket as well. On their way to bring these two items to Diane, Carol stopped them. Carol told them, I could bring those items to Diane for you. They said, no, we're going to do it ourselves.
Fucking right.
Mom, pull around the car.
Carol ended up getting the locket anyway. If you guys remember from last episode when we met Diane, she stormed out of the office and she had taken the locket with her. After figuring out that Carol now has the locket, York blows up Kaysen's spot.
So Becky did entrust the locket to them. And now Carol has it. Right, Kaysen?
Huh?
You were in the room when Carol took the locket back from Diane. I saw you with Diane in the art gallery that day.
Well, yeah, I was there in the room, but I was only chatting with Diane. Oh, then Carol burst in, all angry looking.
York tells Kaysen that he is a key witness in the case and that he cannot leave the town until directed otherwise.
Ooh, bitch, you just got put on house arrest, motherfucker.
Damn right. You sitting tight. Then York calls him fat.
Facts.
He makes a reference to Alice in Wonderland.
What? Can you do that? This is all starting to sound a little like Alice in Wonderland.
Which makes you Humpty Dumpty.
Huh?
You fat.
And Humpty Dumpty was fat.
He did an ab crunch. He did a crunch right there.
The kids ask York about Becky. They ask if she's going to be coming back to play with them anytime soon. York's about to drop the hard bomb on them. He's about to just say, she got tore up. Period stains and everything. However, Emily interrupts and says,
I was told by Becky to keep this a secret, but she's actually a goddess of the forest, just like Anna. I think she's gonna be in the forest with Anna for a while.
York just walks away from this. He just goes, well, my job's done here.
I tried.
This scene ends with one of the most depressing lines. York just tells Zach,
Zach, I hope Emily doesn't end up as a forest goddess too.
As she was saying that, I was like, yo, this dude's targeting all women. I was like, what if something happened? I could totally see the game doing it.
Could be a target.
We go through another sequence where York recaps parts of the case. This is where he asks Zach several questions. You have to pick the right clue. The big thing from this section is we agree with York that Diane is the prime suspect. She is definitely the one who has the most mystery around her, the one who has the most connections to everyone involved in the case. So we have to figure out what's going on, and the way to do that is to tail Nick. But let's get to the cutscene. York is now in the conference room with Emily, Thomas, and George, and they state that they need information on Nick and Diane Nick and Diane's relationship. York tells George that he needs to stake out the art gallery. Make sure he keeps note of anyone coming in and leaving. Thomas's post will be inside the bar watching over Diane and Nick, while Emily and York wait outside. Once the two leave the bar, they'll tail them to their location. Learn a little bit more about this saucy relationship between these two individuals. Did you guys have any thoughts or anything during this chapter?
I don't know why you wouldn't just follow them the whole time. Like they split up into like these like weird
groups and shit.
Yeah, but I was like, I mean, whatever. I'm down to see. I don't think it's gonna be either of these people. So it's like I'm not super invested into it because it's just something to do in the game. Sorry.
Kind of along the same lines as John. I think just there for the ride because I don't think it's either of these two people either. I've got my own suspicions on just a few of them, but no, yeah, just along for the ride. It's like one of those GTA missions. You know what I'm saying? Like where you're just like, we'll see how it goes.
Does it do anything? Not really, but it's here and you gotta play it. Well, boys, that is the chapter.
Quick chapter.
So now we move on. What could be considered one of the longer chapters in the game. Chapter 12 starts off with York in the Sheriff's Department parking lot. You have to meet at Carol's bar in between 10 and 11 o'clock. You make it to the bar. Emily hops inside the car with York, tells York that Thomas is waiting inside, watching over Nick. And it starts to rain, guys. Damn. It starts to rain. Uh-oh. What does it mean when it rains?
Somebody gonna die. No, it just means the raincoat killer's out.
They talk about how they don't do anything when it rains. It's rained so many times since we've been here. Like they probably don't do anything in this goddamn town at all.
The raincoat man's a coming.
I also just like that they're always outside when it's raining. Yes. Completely negating what they told you before that people mostly stay inside.
Right. People mostly stay inside. The whole town shuts down.
Even though when you're driving around and it's raining, you can clearly see other people on the road. Thomas lets Emily and York know that Diane never showed up. It's just Nick. And then Nick leaves the bar. They let George know that Nick's leaving. They're going to tail him. They wait for Thomas to hop in the car, and off we go. Guys, we have to tail Nick, which means we just have to drive behind him at a certain distance. You also need to make sure that you don't instinctively hit your sirens because your car is slowed down, because that's what I did, and it totally ends the mission.
Really?
Yes. York tells the group,
I think he noticed us.
How can you stay calm at a time like this? We've just failed.
No need to worry. Nick will do this all again tomorrow night.
How can you be so sure?
If he breaks his daily pattern just because he saw us tonight, then that would mean he's up to no good. We can question him then. He'll be at the bar. I'll bet dinner on him.
You sound very confident. All right then, we'll try again tomorrow.
I'll let George know that we're trying again tomorrow.
So, we have to do all this again tomorrow?
That's right. Looks like Nick gets to play with the big boys for another day.
I feel like I hit my sirens and it didn't do anything, because that's how I drive.
I
totally messed me up.
I flipped my car, and Nicholas got too far away, so then I had to restart.
You actually flipped it upside down all the way?
Yes, and it takes 9 years for it to restart, because it has to it puts you back, right? And I think it puts you back a couple feet back, too, so he got too far away, and I was like, oh, great. And it was like, investigation failed, and I was like, oh, how wonderful. Let's start this over.
Wait, it failed you? That's so weird.
If you're too far away. Yep.
For me, letting him know that I was there, it just said, guess we're doing this tomorrow. And I had to go back, sleep, smoke cigarettes, get all the way back to the same time to do this all over again.
Wow. Yeah. Speaking of taking 9 years, this fucking mission took 9 years to take.
How many times did you do it, John?
Just one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it 3 times.
What?
Wait. Why?
Why did I do it 3 times? Because the first time I pressed the sirens, the second time I made it, and then the game crashed. And I did not save at the phone outside
bro.
Diane's art gallery.
ABS, bro.
Yes.
Come on.
ABS, I know. I messed up.
Always
Messed
saving.
up. So I had to do it a third time.
Jesus.
This tailing section really does take a long time. And yes, I already said where we end up arriving at the end of this tailing section. We end up at Diane's art gallery. But before we get there, there's a little something that happens. As we're following Nick, we get a little cutscene. We turn the corner, and a giant Mack truck is coming around the other side and almost collides with the gang. York swerves out of the way. Everyone's terrified.
You know what's funny is immediately as that happened, the first thing I heard was the Tokyo Drift song. Let me know. Tokyo. I was like, yo, that's crazy. You need to edit that, John. Pull that fucking thing and do it, dude. Just do it. That'd be so awesome.
The gang is okay. The car comes to a stop. And York mentions,
I think someone's putting a curse on all the cars I drive recently.
he backs up, hits the gas pedal, and is on the way to where Nick was heading. They end up at the art gallery, but they lost track of Nick because of that little scene. They get to the art gallery. George is there. York asks George,
Is Nick here? George,
No, he hasn't showed up here.
what about Diane? Any movement?
No action here at all.
York is looking at George and says,
But George, something's different about you. Are you okay?
Actually, I had a little drink while I was waiting. This is my first murder case, after all. I'm on edge, and I needed one. It was only a little, though. I'm still in control.
George admits that he had a little drink while waiting.
Son of a bitch.
Opening the bottle.
You know, he's on edge because of the murder case.
Since he already killed one of the fucking people.
But did you guys notice anything else?
No.
If you look, his scar is much more apparent. It's showing much more clearly.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it opened up.
Oh.
See, I thought that
I'm gonna
happened later on.
Because I noticed it here
Yeah.
when he's like, there's something different about you. I was looking at it and I was like, I can really see your scar
Yeah.
right now.
I noticed it later,
And-
and I thought when he moves it, it split open. I never went back and looked. That's what I thought happened.
I was looking at this scene and I thought to myself, I don't remember his scar being that visible.
Right.
It was there, but not
Right.
not to that extent. And so I went back and looked at previous pictures and it was not like that.
I would make a terrible cop, dude. I do not notice these little tiny minute details, dude. This is fucking insane.
I was gonna say this is what re-put George back onto my short list is when I thought I saw the scar open up.
But yes, George admits that he had a drink. He says, don't worry, I'm still in control. York wants inside the art gallery. York wants to get inside because he feels that Nick and Diane
Bumping
are
uglies.
both in there. He looks back, says, you sure you didn't see anyone? George says, I have not taken my eyes off this place all night.
Except for when I'm hitting the fucking bottle, you know.
Very true. He's like, when I'm throwing him back. You know?
When I'm hitting the sauce.
York tells him, help me find an entrance. Obviously, they're not going to help you find an entrance. Guys, we're going to have to find the entrance to this place.
Hey.
And the play session begins. It is raining. There's a phone here that you should definitely use. You should totally use this phone.
Always be saving.
ABS. Because if you don't, you're going to play this whole section again, including following Nick.
I like that he has his female body inspector little
Poncho.
You gotta get it, dude.
full-blooded Italian
get it.
poncho.
Now, can I tell you what I thought as soon as I broke that and I saw all the shadows?
Before you do that,
Sure.
let me just let everyone know
Please.
what Devon is talking about is that there's a fence to the side of the art gallery, and when you break it down, all these mysterious shadows start popping up and coming after you.
I was not prepared for that many at that one time, right? Like, so often it's been like one or two, right? 3 of them, and now they're running at me. It's just too much. You can tell that.
These ones are quick too.
Yeah, dude, Diane's is fucking.
They're quick, and I felt like they were super durable.
And they're also unlimited because I sat there for a good 5 minutes killing them before I was like, oh, I need to just run through it once they're dead and get to the next area.
Yes, this is an infinite spawn location. they will keep on popping up. So you just have to get by.
just can't.
And they'll spawn with different weapons. Like one of them just spawned with a shotgun.
Yeah.
I just can't get over the fact that they like phase towards you. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit just. I get goosebumps every time I play these parts, bro. I really do.
Stutter step.
It's so bad.
It is a cool looking enemy type as far as them doing that.
Oh, like stuttering towards you?
Yeah.
No, it's hard.
Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. What you have to do in this section is you have to make your way to the back of the art gallery. There is a shack over there that you need to get into.
Love shack.
Once you get in that shack. What kind of shack, guys?
Love shack. Baby, love shack. Love shack, baby.
Hey, that jukebox money.
Inside the Love Shack, York finds a ladder that leads underground. And of course, that's going to be our way into the art gallery. That's our ticket inside, boys.
Did you notice what Emily's doing, by the way?
Oh yeah.
Emily started doing the York.
Doing the York.
Dude, that's gonna be a new dance. Doing the York.
Tapping the collarbone.
Oh my god. Doing the York.
The York is gonna be a combo of moves between these two. It's gonna be tapping the collarbone. You're gonna lean back as you tap the collarbone, and then you're gonna come up as if you're talking to Zach as well. You gotta switch.
Oh my god. That's great.
That's what it's gonna be called from now on.
Yeah. Doing the York.
Anytime any character lifts up their hand and starts tapping their
We
collarbone.
need to get a York counter going.
Take a shot every time they do the
Oh,
York.
God.
You fucking hammered the first episode.
Once again, York wants them to stay outside. He's going in alone. Emily already knows.
So
She already understands.
hold on a second. Emily would have gone the same route as York did, and she didn't
Yes.
see any of these fucking creatures at all.
There it goes. Just feeding into John's theory. I love it. John, I'm right there with you, okay?
He's a fucking psychopath.
He's a knock.
When I was playing, I didn't realize it. The wheels are
What
turning.
didn't you realize?
That she wouldn't follow
Oh.
him the same way and didn't say anything.
Like, what are all those fucking zombie things back there, by the way?
What were you shooting your gun at? Just running.
Just stay there. It's just like squirrels and shit and deer just like running from him.
All Emily asks of York is that
If there's trouble, then you'll call us in, okay? You might not think so, but we're a team.
A team.
That's what I think, at least, and I'm interested in you and Zach. I don't want anything to happen to you before I hear more about you two.
yes, Emily says that she wants to know more about Zach and York. Guys, what do you think about that?
I mean, they're gonna fuck.
She wants it, dude.
Wait, who? Zach or York?
They're the same person.
She wants the sinner sandwich, baby.
Yeah, she does.
She wants to get in between.
She wants to atone. York climbs down the ladder, and the game crashes. And the game continues to do that over and over again until you switch to Windows XP, make it by the part, save, and then switch back to the original compatibility.
That's awful, dude. I feel so bad.
York gets down there. The red ivy climbs up onto the ladder. And you know that we are in another mysterious shadow section for reals this time. But York's not thinking about that. York is thinking about Emily. York is saying,
Zach, did you hear that? She wants to know more about you. Isn't that a nice surprise? Amazing.
You think he calls his dick Zach? He's been talking.
You
to
hear
Zach
that,
the entire time. She wants to meet you, Zach.
She wants to meet you.
That's
Then you got to pick up that phone. Always be saving.
right.
you got to save because you got to switch to compatibility so you can get your aiming back. And then we head on in, boys. We head on in.
To the thick of
We
it.
got a lot of mysterious shadows
This is the worst
to take out.
of the worst parts I've ever. This reminded me of PT.
Really?
Like, just like the setting, right? Just the corridor itself alone. Like, dude, Halloween, I'm playing horror games to get over my fear of horror games. It's happening.
Oh, we start off with the perfect one right here.
I know, exactly.
This is breaking you in.
I know, and it's fucking awful. I don't do this shit. Just like watching, I'm getting goosebumps.
What do you guys think of this section? So there is a part that we're going to discuss that's coming up in just a bit. Before we get there, though, what do you think of this environment?
It's almost like a crypt, right? Like underneath.
Because we mess around with two areas. There, you can go underground, and you actually fight in the art gallery. So after this underground section, you end up in the main area. But guys, the underground section, just the atmosphere. What do you guys think of the atmosphere?
It's creepy.
Is it still the same? Is it still just like same enemies? We're just doing this again in another location, or do you like the atmosphere, or do you just enjoy the tension that they're trying to put?
I would say in terms of like same enemies, right? I mean, they're the same enemies that we've been fighting this whole time, right? They've gotten a little bit stronger, things like that. But in terms of setting wise and how it makes me feel, it definitely creeps me out a lot more than like previous sections. Like when we were in the lumber mill, that was creepy, right? But not as creepy. Like this kind of reminds me of catacombs, right? Like being in catacombs and being like super underground. I don't with it.
It was kind of similar to the lumberyard sections in certain areas, but I mean, I like that the ceiling was a little bit lower. Kind of felt a little bit more confined.
Yeah, it felt a little more claustrophobic.
Yeah, a little bit
in in these underground sections.
Yes. Couldn't fucking breathe.
Well, guys, before we even make it to the art gallery, you get what you've been asking for. What have they been asking for, guys? They have been asking for a new enemy, and the game serves one right up.
One after another.
This vent. While York is walking in the underground passage, this vent cover comes right off the wall, and out from the vent crawls this weird, creepy, evil within type woman. Black hair covering her face like she's from The Ring. Giant nails. She is stuck to the ceiling. She starts crawling out, but not crawling in the way where her hands are into the ceiling. It's her back is against the ceiling, and she's kind of sliding along toward you.
I paused the game.
Now, the thing about this enemy is that she can go invisible, and you cannot hit her when she is in that state. You can only hit her when she is solid and you can see her design. Guys, what do you think of this enemy?
I paused the game. As soon as the vent fell and she crawled out, I said, well, pause real quick. And I went upstairs for about 10 minutes and I said, nope. I literally was walking up this, nope, 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 nope. I definitely started out with the machine gun, the submachine gun, and didn't realize the whole...
You can't hit her?
Right, and I was like fucking my homeboy in, I forget his name, in fucking Predator, just fucking... just lighting the forest up, dude. Just lighting this bitch up. Dude, no. Fucking creepy.
It was very cool that the new enemy type was kind of a surprise. I really liked it at first. Like, it was such a different change, and you had to figure out
a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, you had to figure out how to kill it, so it wasn't just like, oh, I have to shoot it in the head.
Just shoot it.
It was like, what's going on? So it was a nice change of pace. It was a little difficult at first because I only had such a range of being able to aim up. So I had to go back really far until I figured out that if you're looking up and then you do the like auto aim, it locks on higher.
Yeah. If you lock onto her, you can just... Yeah.
So that was...
I used the lock on for this fight constantly because when she was in her invulnerable form, I would run by her, she would reach for you, and that's when she would solidify, and I would just turn around, lock on, and get a couple shots in. And then I would just repeat that process, just running back and forth.
Yeah. It went like shot on the top. She would like go down or like go on like the side wall, then come after you, try to grab you, and that's when she'd reappear and shot, and kind of like redo it again.
She also has another attack that she'll use sometimes after you hit her, and that is she'll hop down on the ground and she'll shoot this giant ball of energy at you.
It was her spirit bomb.
She shoots her own version of the spirit bomb at you. But you can evade that. You can press B or whatever the evade button is to jump out of the way.
Shoot her in her gooch.
I don't imagine either of you guys died against her, right?
No.
Not this time. I don't think I died. No, I don't think I died. I got this one part where she did the thing where her hands glow and she goes to grab you. Now, mind you, this is like it was like the third one because spoiler, you have to like face this enemy type like 4 or 5 times in this stupid section.
Yes.
And it had me cornered to the back wall, and like she just grabbed me. I was like, it was of course right when I was like, oh, this is like an easy enemy now. I figured it out. And it was like, ah! I was like, of course, right after I fucking say that. It fucking gets me.
It was so good. I was watching John's stream when he was doing it, and he says, "This enemy isn't even that hard."
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the very next second, it just grabs him.
Hadn't been touched by her the entire time. And
then John just does his, well.
Yeah.
She was like, "What the fuck you say?"
I'll show you, tough bitch.
Ghost ass motherfucker.
So, guys, yes, we have come across our second enemy type. Third, if you want to count the ones with the shotgun.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're pretty much
a variant.
the same.
It's a variant.
It's a variant.
It's like
This
they're
is
just
truly a new enemy type.
Yeah.
This is truly a new enemy type. After defeating that wench, you climb up the ladder. You save your game.
Always be saving.
Always be saving. You change your suit so the flies never come up.
I don't
Again.
know if I did that or not. I might have.
I definitely changed it. It said in my game, your suit's looking a little dirty. I was like, no. Not today. No stinky agent here.
And he saved it again.
And then I saved after I changed the suit.
Just in case, so you wouldn't forget.
Just in case. Yeah. Because what if the game crashed? I did the whole section again, didn't change my suit, and then I became a stinky agent, and the flies returned.
Emily doesn't want to play with no stinky agent. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Agent man.
Stinky agent man. He needs to learn how to shower.
Guys, fun fact. If you do get the flies flying around you, you lose money, and it gives you the title Stinky Agent.
What? Where?
You know how it pops up if you shave or whatnot, or if you grab the medals, the symbol will pop up. It'll say Agent Honor, and it'll tell you how much money you earned for grabbing that.
Okay.
If you shave, it'll say clean shaven or something along those lines and give you money. If you become stinky and you have flies flying around you, it'll pop up and say Stinky Agent.
That's awesome.
And you lose some money.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
After leaving that room, York ends up in the lobby of the art gallery. And there is another giant tree, boys.
Oh, good.
Another creepy tree in the middle of the room.
With hand.
He tries to profile, but there's too much noise, which means we're going to have to find some clues, boys. But before we can do that, we have a puzzle to solve. That puzzle has to deal with the tree and 3 portraits in the art gallery lobby, in the entrance hall. What you have to do is shoot the apples off the tree, collect those apples, and put the correct apple with the appropriate portrait. Guys, how did this puzzle work out for you? John can't aim. Let's just remember this.
That was the frustration of this. It wasn't hard by any means as far as like figuring out what you had to do, but it's limited by time. Because I can't aim up, I had to go like far back in the room to try to be able to shoot the apple. Because the apples are hidden in some areas, like around the tree, I couldn't get far enough away to be able to shoot them. So the first time I tried it, I actually failed it. And then
what happens when you fail, John?
I don't remember.
So the reason it's timed is because apparently there's this gas filling up in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And if you run out of time, York turns into the Joker and he just stares back at the screen with this wide-eyed face and this huge smile. Like
it's like Batman 89.
Actually lost his mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Like it seals the deal that he lost his mind. He just turns to the screen and just looks at you and says, "Why so serious?"
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah. So I had to do it again and go up like the stairwells to be able to shoot the fucking apples down. It was quite the annoyance, but yeah, it was all right. I mean, I'm a fan of puzzles, so I always like stuff like this. It's always fun. I'd like some more challenging puzzles, but
it wasn't as challenging as the first puzzle I encountered in this game. For me, it was pretty self-explanatory, very, very easy, unless you had the aiming issue.
King moves first, man.
King moves first. Fuck that puzzle.
It was an easy puzzle finished it pretty quickly. I think I messed up once with trying to put the wrong apple. Because there's 2 red apples. A red apple and a ripe apple. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I got those 2 confused off the bat.
Of course, they're on the opposite ends of the room, and you can't just run down the middle of it. You got to go all the way up the fucking stairs and down and around.
That's right. You have like the red blood walls blocking you, so you have to go up the stairs in order to walk around the area.
We'll say that it's cool that we've already visited the art gallery before, so it's like we're going back to the art gallery again, but it's in like a different state. So I like that. That was neat.
It kind of gives it a Silent Hill element. You know how in Silent Hill, when the siren goes off and you see the world just crumble, you get to see a different version of it. That's kind of what they did with this, where we saw the art gallery in normal everyday life, and now we're seeing it from this weird, mysterious shadow realm. When we complete the puzzle, our focus goes to this giant painting in front of the door in the back of the art gallery. In it is a mysterious shadow who just comes alive and comes out of the picture and starts pursuing you. It's just a normal enemy, but it was a cool scene. I did like that they did that. Yeah. I thought that was fine. But then you just got to kill the mysterious shadows in the room and you can move on to the next area.
Right. It was pretty cool, right? It's neat that they added that in.
I'm always down for cool enemy entrances. When it comes to creepy games, I think whenever you have sludge on the wall or just a picture or a portrait or something, and you see the enemy or the creature just come out of that slowly, it's always creepy to me.
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps now. So,
but guys, after we take out those mysterious shadows, we find our first clue.
A
red seed. Guys, it's another red seed. What do you think that means?
Death is on the horizon.
We also get another thing beside the clue, beside the red seed. You know what that is, boys?
What's that?
A shotgun.
Yeah, I couldn't pick it up. I didn't have enough spots.
Oh no!
You didn't pick it up?
No. I didn't have enough spots.
What?
I couldn't pick it up.
You didn't drop anything?
I don't care. I'm just going through this game.
Dude, the shotgun makes those creatures so much easier to kill.
Yeah.
He's not wrong.
I think it takes 3 shells.
The shotgun is tits, though, dude.
The shotgun is so good.
Can I just go to the gun store and buy it if need be? Or no?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you totally can.
He's like, all right, well, I'll spend my money instead of getting it for free.
I'll probably buy like a $20 shotgun and not the $34 crackers. You know, it's like since the money doesn't.
Yeah, please tell me the price of the shotgun when you buy.
$45,000. Like, okay.
It's like, all right, I gotta go back there.
After that section, we have to traverse through the art gallery. We get to see all of it in its full glory, the entirety of the art gallery. Have to make our way around some blood walls, take out some more mysterious shadows, and eventually we find our second clue.
Making our way around the art gallery, find these clues so we can stop the dead person.
We find the broken stiletto heel shoe. Oh, yeah.
Diane, you don't have to put on your red light.
What do you guys think of the art gallery section?
I mean, it's just like I was saying before, where it's cool that we've already visited it, and it's oh wow. Yeah. He just took out a guy with a shotgun. Ooh, I wish I picked it up. It's cool revisiting the area that you've already had. So like, you know what you're getting into, but you also don't, because it's different now, especially in like the Psycho world. Yeah, I like it. I like it. There's one part where I get fucking dominated by these people. Like it was right before you go downstairs, where like I turned the corner and they were just like attacked me, and then when they attack you, and you shove them off, it does this weird camera angle of like looking from like a lower position up to York, and it's like the camera's all weird. And there was just like 3 or 4 of these guys that were just so in close like to me that like I would push one off and I couldn't orientate myself, and then another one just grabbed me, and I was like, God damn it. They're just like, I was moving from person to person. It was so frustrating. It's so stupid.
It was the worst gangbang that John has ever been a part of.
I think
he just got passed around.
I think this area I like this one a lot more than Underground, just because it's more open. But I did not get dominated. I was not taken advantage of in a dark alley. So
Devon's over here like I was the dominator.
Right.
We walk into this one room where there are 4 mysterious shadows that you have to take out at once. Luckily, the machine gun makes short work of them. In this area, there's a bunch of machines, and they're machines that hold the art. Like, it's a storage room. In one of these is our final clue. York opens up the machine, and this giant wooden circle rolls out.
Dun, dun.
When it lands, what do we have on it?
A tree.
Or a reverse peace sign. Oh. What could it be?
Dun. I see you.
But it's the final clue, and we're able to watch the profiling segment. In the profiling segment, we see this giant weird sculpture thing. Not sure what it is. It flips over to Diane, and Diane sees the killer. And Diane says, "What are you doing here?" Which means Diane knows who the killer is. She recognized him. And she says,
"So it was you. Much more astonishing than I imagined. I'm impressed."
But the killer's not impressed with Diane and starts attacking her.
Don't! I'm not gonna stop!
And then she gets stabbed.
You will be.
The killer uses her blood to create that reverse peace sign on that circle and then drags her body off somewhere. What do you think of the profiling segment, boys?
I mean, a lot of shit has happened. I've had a lot of suspects here, and I have added one to the list, okay? Just from seeing that. I think the old Carol's in on this.
Why do you say Carol?
I say Carol just because of the way the killer looked during the profiling segment. You can kind of see like the short hair. Carol kind of has the same kind of hair. That's just all my basis. That's just it. That was just my base. I'm hooking one on. I'm throwing it out there, and I'm hoping I get a couple bites, man. That's it. I'm hoping. Or it'll be like a Hot Fuzz type thing.
Everybody's in on it?
Everyone's in on it.
The whole town.
Everyone's
I had a thought about that for a second.
Right,
And I'm
exactly.
like, I don't know. I have this really weird problem of like, this happens in movies too, when like things come at me too quick, where I'm just like, don't retain what's going on, or I'm not seeing what's going on. Those profiling segments, I honest to God don't see like the full picture of what's going on, and I feel like I missed stuff in it. Like we just watched it right now. I totally saw the guy with the hair, fucking the stabbing. Like there's very few things that I actually see when they're coming. The images are coming so quick. They usually don't do too much for me because I'm like, well, I don't even know what I saw. So,
So does this go back to like our discussion that we had today? How quick things like that. You're old, so like you just don't process it. Like
yeah, my brain is old, and I need to stare at something for a long time to be able to see what's going on.
How about you, Peter? What did you think about the profiling?
I enjoyed it. I think it's a cool way to give you some insight into other perspectives, and it'll show you how certain scenes came to be. So I enjoy that aspect of it. One thing that I do want to make note of, in one of the previous profiling segments, back in the lumber mill, even though it was hard to see, we saw a picture of someone running away from the scene from where Anna was killed. Because Anna was killed at the lumber mill. You find out in Becky's diary, thank you, Kemaro, another shout out to you. With Becky's diary, you find out that was Becky who ran away, and that's why she was crying in her diary.
And that's why she was murdered.
Once the profiling segment concludes, the door to the ladder slowly opens up. And then you just see an invisible hand come through and then go back down into the lower parts of the art gallery.
Just taunting.
Well, guys, where do we need to go?
Oh, gosh, golly gee. I think we should go down.
John is correct. We have to head down there. Thank God there's a phone.
Goddamn right.
Because we save right there.
Yep. ABS.
Down in this area, we're back underground. We have to fight more of those new creatures.
Oh,
and if you have the shotgun, this can actually go pretty swimmingly.
Very easy. Sorry, John.
How did these fights work out for you guys?
Honestly, it was just more of the same, like repeating, like doing the whole running back and forth. I just don't like how it keeps you confined.
We never mentioned that.
Yeah.
You have to fight these enemies. It's not like the other ones where you could probably run by. Yeah. These enemies you are forced to fight. The blood walls come up and you cannot leave that area.
Shit sucks, dude.
I was very frustrated by this whole section right here, just because like I was very freaked out when we first saw it,
Mhm.
and I thought it was cool that they changed up the enemy type, but then they just did it like back to back to back. By the end, it's not like it creeped me out anymore, and it really wasn't that difficult to beat them. So it turned into this just like what was cool and could have been something that was like done sparsely throughout to keep it interesting. They're just like, oh, here you go, here you go, here you go.
Yeah, it was
At
kind
the
of
end.
obnoxious that they kept popping up.
After fighting that first enemy, I knew that they were going to pop up again. It's just video game law.
Yeah.
When a new enemy type comes up,
They just throw it
they're
at
just
your
going to
face.
keep throwing it at you. I mean, 9 times out of 10, they're going to keep throwing it at you.
No, I know. It would have been cool to just have as a switch up, not something.
Mhm.
It was really just the fact that it was like, I think because it sections you off and you have to fight them. It was just like you beat it, you go down 10 feet, and then it sections you off again, and you're like, okay, I gotta beat this again. It just made me mad.
You know what could have been cool is if it was the same enemy.
And it kind of like
Right?
retreated.
Exactly. Once you shot it a certain number of times, it retreated back in. You could progress, and then it came out again once you reached another location.
That would have been
so it was
pretty
the
rad.
same enemy.
I would have been cool with that. That would have been neat.
We kill all those new enemies. We finish the underground section. There's another ladder. We climb back up. We're on the other side of the art gallery. We got to shoot open a lock. And once we go through the door, guys, we are getting a cutscene that you will remember for the rest of your lives.
Facts, dude.
York ends up back in the entrance hall. And you see the giant sculpture from the profiling segment. It's there in the middle. It's being held up by wires.
We're out of the nightmare scenario as well. It's back
Yes.
to real world.
We're back to the real world. York has gained his sanity back, as John would say. In the entrance hall, he finds Nick unconscious on the floor. Not sure what's going on. He hears something, and he looks over at the sculpture, and he sees blood dripping onto the sculpture. And up above it, tied up, dangling, is Diane, the art gallery owner.
Yep.
There's a knock at the door. It's George saying, "Open up!" York opens up the door for them. They come inside. They're in shock.
My question is, how the fuck did they hang her up? The fucking manpower. That's, dude, yo, it's multiple people. I'm telling you. There's the only way. It's the only way.
It's assumed that Diane is dead, similar to Becky.
They do a lot of that. They do a lot of assuming people are dead.
Emily notices that she's alive, and she's moving her wrists, trying to get free.
Wait! She's still alive.
York yells out,
Diane, don't move. Don't move your hands and stay still.
Emily tries to push the sculpture. She runs up to the sculpture, tries to shove it, but obviously she's not strong enough to do that. So George pushes her aside and tries to shove down the sculpture himself. He's pushing it. He even snaps some wires, and he starts screaming at the top of his lungs as he's trying to push it. York notices that there's not going to be enough time for George to move that sculpture out of the way. Not before Diane falls. York climbs onto the railing, yells,
George, catch us!
Just as Diane comes free and starts to fall, York leaps over the statue, over the sculpture.
Michael Jordan Space Jam moment, dude.
Oh my god. Breaks her
Grabs
spine.
Diane.
Literally.
They're falling together,
Ooh.
and George is at the bottom, still screaming. York and Diane land right on top of George. George catches them. Diane rolls off. Whew! They saved her. York has saved Diane. Breath of fresh air from that intensity. Guys, what did you think of that first part of the scene?
Almost as ridiculous as fucking Metal Gear, dude.
I think I said that as a Metal Gear moment when I was streaming. That fucking jump off the balcony is the most ridiculous thing. It's just like
He cleared
So
a 40-foot statue, dude. Cleared it.
by 20
No problem.
feet. Like he
Right.
leapt 20 feet to spear her. from
Speared.
behind.
George screaming at the bottom as they're coming down is what made that scene complete for me. But the cutscene isn't over, folks. Not yet. Diane is alive. Emily tells Thomas to call the ambulance. York gets up, brushes off his shoulders. It's like, I'm too old to be an acrobat. I was like, apparently not. They're excited because guess what? Diane should be able to tell York and the gang who the killer is. York compliments George, says, that was quite the catch. I'm impressed. George just has this dumb look on his face. He's looking at the camera and his mouth is wide open. Emily turns around and you see Diane standing. She walks over to the statue, puts her arms out and starts speaking. The thing is, her tongue is missing. So she's speaking without a tongue.
Oh, what a beautiful beast. The reaching one who fear off in many directions. Combinating in sharp voices, slide away interruptingly, inspiring a truly deep eroticism in all who clear. Every woman will find herself about being penetrated by those sharp voices. This piece is most unimaginable together. And yet, this is far more than a wooden piece of art. It is a piece of masterpiece by elegant
Diane?
themselves. Come closer. Begging please.
If you didn't understand what she was talking about, here's what you need to know. 3 things from this scene.
Hit me with it.
She's spitting out a bunch of red seeds as she's speaking. Nick wakes up, and if you want to know what she was talking about, the only thing you need to know is that she's talking about how erotic that sculpture is, and that every woman will want to be penetrated by it.
Bum, bum.
That's what you need to know from her monologue right there. Nick staggers over to Diane, but gets stopped by George. And George tells Nick,
Stop right there, Nick. You're under arrest for the attempted murder of Diane Ames.
But Nick ain't having that shit.
Nope. Fuck off me.
He shoves George. George goes flying into the sculpture.
Of course.
Him hitting the sculpture then breaks the remaining wires, and the sculpture begins to fall. Emily tries to pull Diane out of the way, but Diane ain't having that shit. Grabs Emily by the wrist and is holding on to her because she's thinking we're going to be penetrated by this thing together. Just in time, York tackles Emily into safety. Emily is okay, but Diane has been penetrated.
Yikes.
Another one has bitten the dust.
Bites the dust.
Diane is dead, but Diane is still grabbing onto Emily's wrist, and Emily has to peel off her fingers one by one.
Could you imagine that?
I would hate every moment of that.
Facts.
It wouldn't even have to be in a scene like that. It doesn't even have to be the scene. If someone just died holding onto me, and then you have to
pry their fingers off of you?
Pretty much, yeah, break their fingers to get free.
I'd be screaming. Shit, they just died. I'd be crying too.
Pretty much in shock right now.
Yeah, she's in complete shock
She wants to talk
from
to
the
Lord,
entire situation.
The Lord of the Light.
York runs over, is trying to comfort her. Thomas runs in, only to see the scene. Imagine being Thomas in this scene right now. All you did was run out to go call the ambulance, and when you run back in, there's a dead woman, the sculpture's on the floor, Emily's in shock, she can't even speak.
Yeah, right.
And fucking York's pulling some CSI Miami shit. It's like, we'll need a body bag as well.
Oh, we won't get fooled again. Won't get fooled again.
I just want to say, this is the second person that George has killed. Unintentionally.
I mean, you could technically call Nick the murderer of this one.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, you're not lying.
Nick starts sobbing, and York tells him to shut up.
Pipe it down.
Why? It's because York hears something, and when they all look at the entrance, in strolls that famous Dalmatian, Willie.
Oh, Willie.
Cason's Willie.
Big, big Willie style, baby.
Apparently, Willie wants York to follow him. So I guess that's what we got to do, boys. We got to follow Willie.
Come on, York. Come to my chocolate factory.
What do you guys think of that second part of the cutscene before we follow Willie?
Oh, we all saw it coming. We just didn't know how it was going to turn out.
I was cracking up when she just jumped up and started fucking
Praying
showing
to
off
the fucking Lord of the Light, dude.
She just showed off like it was like an art piece, like it was everything. As I was cracking up, I was like, "This fucking game is like a lunatic made this game."
Well, here's my thing: when they were just standing there, and then George was there, and he's just like mouth agape, like, "Is no one seeing this?" And he just sees her get up, and I was like, "Okay, this bitch." Not only was she just stabbed, some red seeds were just shoved down her throat. She's hanging 60 feet in the air. She gets speared in the back. They fall the fucking 60 feet down. Well, now the 40 feet because she fell 20 feet, and fucking homeboy cleared it. They fell, and then she has the nerve to get up after all of that. Outlandish.
And do a monologue.
And do a
monologue.
Full monologue. Outlandish.
Without her tongue.
Right. Fucking yeah. Bullshit.
At least you guys are being entertained. It sounds like you guys are being entertained.
I've already said I'm invested in the story. All right, it's like I just want to know what's going on. I hate playing the game, but I'm enjoying talking about it. So,
well, we have to follow Willie, and Willie putzes around the art gallery for way too long.
Yeah, he's not that helpful.
This scene pissed me off. This whole thing.
John was triggered. I'm triggered.
Especially at the point where you see like the blood dragging to the door, and I would go up ahead, and then the dog would be like, "Arr, arr, arr." Like, looks like we need to go see what Willie was. So I had to go back to Willie just to follow him back to where the fuck I was. I was like, all right, Willie, go fuck yourself.
I'll tell you what, Willie's a smart dog, though.
Not lying.
He knows his way.
I mean, he's of above average intelligence, I'll say.
100%.
Like, he could have got us to that door a lot faster if he was smart.
Oh, definitely. No.
Good point, too.
Willie leads York to Diane's office and bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And in the bedroom portion, there is a bookcase or a cupboard or a cabinet, whatever it is.
An armoire.
Facts. I was just going to say
an armoire.
it is an armoire.
There's an armoire. There's an armoire that you have to push out of the way. And when you walk into the room,
see a fucking plant sitting there.
That's right. There's a sapling in the middle of the room, and who can it be? Locked in one of the underground areas, but the big old man himself, Humpty Dumpty, Forrest Kaysen.
Kaysen, what are you doing in there?
York, is that you? Thank God. I can't get this door open. Can you unlock it from your side?
Kaysen, stand away from the door.
He tells
gives him that short warning.
He's gonna open the York is about to open the lock, and he decides to pull his gun and shoot it off. It says, "Stand back, Forrest!" Boom! Like, not even like giving him any sort of chance to get out of the way. Oh man!
York does successfully shoot the lock off. Forrest comes out with red lipstick on his cheek.
Ooh! Surprisingly, he's not carrying a sapling with him, even.
Well, once he climbs out, he makes sure to pick up the sapling in the middle of the room to complete his outfit.
Jesus.
York asks Kaysen, "What were you doing here?"
Let's just say I have my reasons, you know, private reasons. I don't really have to tell you, do I?
Actually, you do. Diane just died a moment ago.
York has had it up to here with Kaysen.
Fucking done with him.
You're not just a key witness now. You're now a suspect. And you need to tell me exactly what you were doing here.
Well, I just came here to talk with Diane, to have a conversation.
And I suppose that kiss mark on your cheek is from your conversation.
This was just a spur-of-the-moment thing.
Which is exactly what killed Diane.
Okay. I came here to be with Diane. You happy now? We've been together before, a couple times. It's one of the reasons why I like coming to this town, see?
Yeah.
I mean, Diane sleeps with who she wants to
She
sleep
deserved
with,
it.
apparently.
Yeah, but I mean, what's this guy bringing to the table? Come on.
That would, John. That would.
We don't know what Kaysen's packing.
It's true.
Fucking lots of fucking
The thing
plants,
is, you have to
apparently.
get there to find out, and the fact that she was okay with that situation beforehand.
What Kaysen tells York is,
how could I kill Diane if I was in a room locked from the outside? 2 hours ago, me and Diane, we were taking it easy, drinking upstairs. We were, enjoying ourselves. Then Nick had to show up. Well, then Diane had a sudden change of heart. She locked me up in here. I've just been here, waiting for her to come back, of course, but she didn't. I heard footsteps a couple of times, but they just passed by. Well, then I couldn't wait anymore, so I let Willie here out through the window. Then you showed up instead of Diane.
We do know those fucking tunnels connect us. I mean, that could have been locked and he could have ran to a different area, went underground, and now he's like, oh, how am I supposed to get up when it's locked?
you did find out that there was no other way in or out of that room, that Kaysen was locked in.
He's still looking at you, kid.
York mentions that in his summary.
So he's got a point.
As of now, there's no evidence of his involvement. The footsteps he heard outside were boots. Unfortunately, because Diane has died, no one can back up Nick's statement, so he's the only option for now. Nick is in custody.
Good.
He is the prime suspect in the murder of Diane Ames,
Ooh.
Becky Ames, and Anna Graham.
Damn.
All they got from questioning Nick was Nick and Diane. They argued because Nick didn't like her views on men.
I don't like you servicing other men.
Not to the point where he would murder her.
No, of course not.
Their arguments never got to
I don't like you having other people stick their dicks inside you. I want to be the only dick.
I know I have a wife, but I don't like it when other people are with you.
York also mentions that George is feeling responsible for the deaths of Becky and Diane.
Good, he should. That fucking fuck up. Fucking be a man. You just let scrawny old Nick push you into the fucking statue. York literally told you not to touch the fucking cord, and you were like, "Yeah, cut it. Let's see what I can do." Fucking murdered both of them. You piece of garbage. You know what? John? He's on my list now.
He's been on my list for a while.
It's the perfect way to get rid of
especially after this section.
That is the end of chapter 12.
The fallen goddess.
She fell all right.
Oh.
We start chapter 13. York is outside doing the York, and George comes out, wants a moment with York. He invites York out for a drink because he wants to talk.
Let's get lit, fam.
I imagine you guys accepted his offer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Hey. We go to Carol's bar with George, and the two are talking. It's kind of another wholesome scene, but it's also a messed up scene at the same time.
Yeah.
York starts asking about George's scars. You learn a little bit about George's past, and it turns out his mother used to beat him. George mentions that the worst of it was what his mother called the tree punishment, and that's when she would take a tree branch and whip his back.
Reparations, motherfucker.
She found reasons to hit me bad. The worst was what she called the tree punishment. She'd whip my back with these thin tree branches like a whip.
Please, Mama. I won't do it again. That hurts, Mama. I'm sorry, please. I'm sorry.
What do you guys think of this insight into George's past?
I think it was great character development, right? He's opening up. He feels down in the dumps. He's like, man, I'm fucking up over and over and over again.
That's right. I didn't even mention that. He does talk about how he feels responsible for the deaths.
So I feel like
Becky
he wants to talk to York to really like almost not like clear his name, but like just come clean about why he's been, I guess, acting so weird. Because you could also just all this stuff with the trees, right? Could just be bringing it all back. So like I think it's a cool moment between him and York.
This is what solidified George's being on my list, because everything has the tree theme, right? He's been whipped by a tree. He has an issue with women, with his mother being the one that's whipping him. So he's murdering all these women.
Look at your little psychologist brain going. I like it.
Like I said, originally I thought the scar opened up when he was pushing on the thing. It almost makes me think that we've seen his back, right? And it's full of the scars, that maybe like the certain scars open up to reveal the tree branches, the upside down peace sign. I don't know. I don't know how this game is going to be revealing this stuff. I mean, in one aspect, he's opening up, being closer to York. I do feel like that they're just doing that to make him less of a suspect. I don't know. He's definitely on my short list of people. Like, it's either someone that we haven't seen their back, or someone that, as stupid as it sounds, someone that we have seen their back, right? It's like, it means everybody. But I'm saying, like, I think out of all the people that we've seen, it definitely could be him. I don't know. It was good. It was good to have, but the immediate thing that I thought of was like, he was whipped with a tree branch, has issues with women. This is point by point of someone that might be a serial killer against these women and planting seeds of this tree. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, he does talk about how those beatings made him become a cop. And he goes on to tell York, I'm going to listen to your orders completely from now on. And then he thanks York for coming out to talk. You're free to walk around the bar, and you can actually walk up and you'll see Carol all dazzled up, looking like a snack, looking like a whole snack.
Like a full course meal.
She got the Hulk Hogan fucking boa around her. Hollywood Hogan fucking.
Oh, what you gonna do, brother? You gotta come over and question me? I don't think so.
York walks up to Carol and starts off the conversation the way any fine gentleman would.
Becky is dead. Diane, too.
Them bitches is dead, homie.
We've got Nick in custody as a suspect.
All she has to say about that.
Nick didn't do it.
York brings up the locket that Carol has.
Doesn't show her the picture. Just shows her the back of the picture.
Yeah, he says a locket with this mark on it. And he lifts up the photograph, but doesn't turn it toward her. But we know that she has the locket. Yeah. And then she says,
I'm busy, gotta go.
Yet again, Carol walks off. She heads on up to the stage, where she starts to sing a sultry jazz song.
I dream of you like a girl. There is something funny about this song.
What do you guys think of Carol's performance?
Awful.
She's a smut.
Awful.
Yeah, it wasn't up to Devon Colbert's standard of music. It does not get the grade A.
Didn't need to see it.
It was kind of a waste of time, honestly.
After Carol's shoddy performance, you're free to walk around, and when you talk to George, someone shows up, all dressed up.
Yeah.
It's the one, the only, Emily.
Zach, Emily is already a goddess of the forest.
She's looking pretty good.
I also just saw something.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
Oh, Emily is already a goddess of the forest?
Bum.
What have they been saying the entire time? The people that died, they're goddesses.
Yep.
They're goddess too.
Dun.
It's York. It's York. It's York. I have my suspicions of York.
The goddess of the forest says, let's forget work for a little and have a drink.
Mm-hmm.
But George isn't having it. George is kind of confused on why she's there.
George is like, Saturdays are for the boys.
George actually decides to leave. Not saying that it was a problem for her to be there, but he says, my time's up. Emily's a little bummed out by that, but George is afraid he's already had enough.
Yeah, Emily, you got to remember, he had like a shitload of stuff when he was supposed to be watching the fucking art gallery.
He was tossing them back.
Plus, he's planning his next murder.
He's pre-gaming at the fucking stakeout, you know.
It's like, yeah, she gonna die today.
I can't imagine York's very upset, considering he gets to spend some quality time with the goddess of the forest.
I know, I wouldn't be upset. I'll tell you that.
Me either.
She seems way overdressed.
Yeah, it's like a fucking ball gown. I'm surprised she doesn't have like the fucking arm gloves that go. Yeah.
York and Emily begin discussing some personal matters, such as Emily's parents. You find out Emily really cares for her mom. Mom was a wonderful person, always there for her, kind, respectful, but she passed away due to cancer. She has this leaf with a wire around it or something. It's a memento from her mom that she always keeps with her. I don't know if you guys could tell exactly what that was, but it's definitely like a leaf.
It's a necklace, but they tried to make it like she's holding it.
Oh, the necklace.
They tried to make it look like she's holding it.
I don't know why they did it like that. Like
Gotcha.
they could have just had the chain like hanging
dangling off the back or something. Yeah.
When they first showed that, I just thought, oh. I mean,
who would ever want to fucking keep
it's
that?
It's from your mom.
Yeah, it's a good thing it means something to you. Ooh.
That makes so much more sense that that's the chain. York puts on the finishing touch on capturing Emily's heart, saying,
I'm sure she's very proud of you.
and they stare at each other in the scene, and the two are outside the bar. York is standing there in his poncho while Emily is dressed to the nines. It's raining out. Does he offer Emily the poncho? No, she's standing out there in her ball gown, just taking raindrops. And York's over there in his poncho, his female body inspector poncho.
Full-blooded Italian.
The two say their farewells for the evening.
Get home.
And York drives all the way back to the hotel.
Get home safe before you get kidnapped.
And we get another summary. York's at his typewriter. You have questions to answer. York's biggest question to Zach.
Zach, do you think that Nick is our serial killer?
I do love this because it's just different York expressions.
Yeah.
The correct answer is no, and York agrees.
I feel like we're just playing an episode of Criminal Minds. It's great.
As York is laying in bed, ready to call it a night, he recalls that George even called him York instead of Agent Morgan. They have become bros.
You finally broke George.
Broke down the walls. They were strong, they were tall, but we took him down.
Basically, it's my relationship with this game. I was calling this game Agent Morgan the whole time.
Now he's calling it York.
Oh my! How? If we could just go back to the first episode.
Oh. While York is recalling what George called him, he hears a knock at the door. Gets up, walks over, opens it, and Emily is outside. Emily is making a late night house call.
Oh, she's biting that bottom lip too. Oof.
She tells York,
I'm sorry. I couldn't sleep, so I was drinking alone.
It's going down at the deck, right? That's what's happening.
Now it's York's turn to talk about his parents. And boy, is this a doozy of a flashback story.
This is a mood killer is what we would call it.
He knows how to do that, though.
This is a record scratch.
You find out that York's dad is also an FBI agent. Yeah. He followed in his father's footsteps. As York is talking about his parents, Emily really only has one question. She wants to know about one thing only.
Who's Zach?
The music stops. York is caught off guard, and we finally has to talk about Zach. York opens up. He says that
Zach is a friend of mine.
Oh, so you do have friends.
Yeah. He's my only friend.
What kind of person is he then?
Well, I've never seen his face. But he's always with me, and we discuss everything.
When did you become friends?
A long time ago.
we get a little flashback of York as a kid. We see a man pointing a gun at this woman on the ground. He was 7 years old when his dad shot his mom and then killed himself.
I think John's right, dude. It's York. A kid at that age
solidified him being a fucking psychopath, right? Like that would mess somebody up.
York was terrified, and he talks about the words, the final words that he heard his dad say. before he shot his mom and killed himself. And those words are,
"At times we must purge things from this world because they should not exist, even if it means losing someone that you love."
What do you guys think of that quote?
I think it's foreshadowing. If I have to guess, this is my true guess right now at this point in time, is that York's the murderer and that his last victim's going to be Emily. And he's going to fucking kill her and purge her from this world. That's my guess. If I had to right now, hand in a Bible, that's what I do.
We need to write it in stone right now.
And it's sad because the granddaughter, so in the other cutscenes that we see, right, with like the little girl that's being told the story, I'm assuming the dude that's telling the story is York, and he's calling this person the little girl Emily. I don't know how. I don't think that his wife is Emily and the name's been passed down. It's going to be something as far as like, I don't know, like it's going to be somehow she was named after Emily, but it has nothing to do with her actually being related to Emily. I don't know.
You're a sick man, John.
I know.
Pretty deep quote though, huh?
That's a very deep quote. Kind of fucked up if you think about it.
A 7-year-old won't know what the fuck you're talking about when you say that shit.
I know. I can't even imagine what I would think if I was 7 years old and someone said that to me.
Like, what's purge mean?
I just watched you. The word sounds pretty cool, Dad. I like it.
Emily feels very sorry for York at this time.
She dried.
But York's.
So about that time to go home.
York says, "Don't worry.
Zach's with me. It was around that time that we became friends.
"I'm here. I'm with you," he said. "I'll be here always. We can get through this together."
That was the comforting voice that made him feel calmer in the midst of all that agony.
That's a sad story. But I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but I'm sure there was a reason for what your father did.
I would have punched her in the face.
That's a very weird thing to say to someone who opens up about a scenario like that.
Dang, he killed your mom.
I'm sure there's a reason your dad blew your mom's head off and then shot himself.
Right. We don't want to take care of kids anymore.
York is already a psychopath. We know that. So he doesn't think twice about it and says,
"I know. I think maybe I became an agent to find out why he did what he did."
So without officially saying it, he basically said Zach is a voice in his head that he created once he saw his fucking parents die right in front of him.
He pretty much told her, "I'm a psychopath and you're next."
And like Emily's taking this very well right now. Like she doesn't seem to be a little creeped out by it. I don't know.
Fact.
She's actually into it.
I know. It's
super
fucking weird.
I mean, she was the one who told him, "Hey, I'm sure there's a reason your dad."
Yeah, gotta be a reason. He wouldn't
did
have just
those horrible
shot
things.
your mom and killed himself for no reason. There's gotta be a reason for it, you know.
Emily thanks York for saving her at the art gallery, and then she's all dried up because of this very sad story and decides to leave for the night.
Facts.
York is then lying in bed thinking about the conversation with Emily, and he tells Zach,
"I think she's starting to have certain feelings for you."
If that's the case, Zach, you and I are rivals. This is a very serious situation indeed.
Well, if it comes to that, let it be a fair fight. Agreed?
I just had a little. What if? What if it's not York that's the killer, but it's Zach that's the killer? Ooh. And the purging is actually him purging Zach from himself.
Ooh.
Right? So like this thing, like it'll come down to the point where like we're gonna kill fucking Emily, like via the game. Like we have control of York as Zach killing Emily, and then like he has to purge us to save her fucking life. That'd be cool. Just like with other things, I feel like I'm coming up with stuff that would be way better than what the story's going to end up.
It's gonna happen, and John's gonna be like,
"Oh no, it was Thomas." Oh, okay.
I love that this game's got you thinking though, John. I love hearing the theories.
I throw theories at Pete like no less than once a week with stuff. Right. Like I talked to him earlier. Saying how,
he's like, "Hey, dude."
Well, my earlier theory was like that it is York, but that like he's a fucking psychopath. Basically, this whole game is taking like place inside of his head, and the fact that it's so over the top and so cheesy is because like he's just like making this up essentially, and he's like obsessed with movies, and there's like people with like movie character names or like actual movie like actor names in this, so it's like he's influencing the game through his like psychosis. He's just like, you know, being a fucking psychopath. I think that'd be cool too.
John's like he's pitching every like idea to like
throwing everything at the wall.
John is Charlie Day, just with the board.
Yep.
It has to be here.
Yeah. I mean, I have to be right if I just throw out all these things, right? Something has to stick.
I got a whole box of Pepe.
We do have one more scene in this chapter.
Yeah, we do, dude. Let's talk.
Yeah.
And this is Nick in the cell.
This isn't even the one that
screaming.
Thomas! Let me out of here! Come on, please! Just for a moment. 1 second. Hate it in here, Thomas. I think I'm going mad. I know you're there! Come on, please! Thomas!
What did you guys think of that little clip?
He's a pussy.
It's one of those things that's like taken out of context. It looks, I think, much weirder than it should be. It's one of those like, again, kind of sets you off on a different path. Like, oh, it's supposed to make him look more guilty than he actually is, or you know, I don't believe it. This is the more interesting part. Is the next part.
The next one. The next scene.
I was like, what fuck is going on?
This is what I'm saying, dude. This is where shit is really hitting the fan, bro.
We see Carol still all dressed up with her Hulk Hogan boa, hugging someone in a red dress. You see a picture of the 3 women all around what could only be the killer, and you can see the weird symbol on the back, clear as day. The focus shifts over to a mannequin with a weird S&M bondage suit on it, and on that mannequin, around the nape, is the necklace with the locket and that symbol on it. Guys, what do you think of that final little cutscene?
Interesting, to say the least.
Very interesting.
Who did you think the other person was?
No clue. No idea.
No idea who the other person is that is hugging up on the old Carol.
I was just like, again, that's one of those things where I didn't get to dissect what was going on because I was just like, whoa, what's happening?
Watch out.
Like,
a lot of stuff did happen in that.
What about the photo?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that they all know who person is, right? So that means
they're like into this person.
Right? So that means if Carol knows who it is, right? She's like, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Well, it makes me think, you know, not that he was a suspect when she's like, it's not Nick. He's not a suspect. It's like she definitely knows 100% it's not.
Right.
So
not just that, but judging by the photo, now we know who could be the next victim. They know too much.
I didn't even think about who the other chick was.
More questions, guys.
Yeah.
More
I feel like
questions.
we get 2 questions answered and then 6 more rise.
This section as a whole, what do you guys think? Because we just finished episode 2. That was the end of episode 2.
Honestly, kind of mind blowing, right? A lot of shit happened in this. A lot of stuff that got revealed, a lot of things that we're learning. It just is a lot to take in.
For my money, best section of the game we played. A lot has happened. The tease at the end there, I think, is the best one that they've had so far. Where it's like this is opening up into like a whole new area. People know who this dude is, and it's like there's some weird underground like sex ring or something that's going on. It'll be interesting to see what's going on with this. So I want to know. I want to know.
Tell me your answers.
I love the story. I love the way that they can leave you off on.
I hate
these
that Pete
little
knows
cliffhangers.
and we don't. That's what makes me mad. I hate that Pete knows. Son of a bitch. So
I do think they do a great job with teasing and leaving little hints throughout.
So let me ask you a question. Are you having more fun going through it again and seeing the little like the teases or like the hints that they're giving, or did you have like just the extreme epiphany of going through it the first time and being like, oh my god, this is like ridiculous, this is awesome?
First time I went through it, the game blew my mind just because of how weird and crazy it is. Learning everything and who the characters are and how everything goes down and the result of everything just left a mark on me. I was basically the Kermit the Frog where he's looking out the window. You know that meme where it says when you beat a game you don't know what to do?
Yeah.
That was me after I beat this game, just looking out the window, just pondering and thinking about the game and everything that happened. Playing it now, there are so many little things that I'm catching and thinking, wow, never noticed that the first time. And I love that feeling. I love going back through something again and seeing how they teased it. All the answers are there. Like you see everything, and all I can think about is, wow, I can't believe I didn't notice that.
Right.
But I also can believe it because it was hidden so well, and you'll only notice when you go back through it.
Well, that's how you know when something's well written, right? Where it's like it's not just the reveal that makes it good, but the fact that like you can go through having the information of what the end is and still find it interesting the entire time going through. Like that's good. When you first played through it, did you like the game the entire way through, or was it the end of the game that made you like everything beforehand?
See, I enjoyed the quirkiness right off the bat. That was a totally different experience for me.
Okay.
For me, when I played this back in 2010, I just thought, oh, that's funny. I'm down with it.
Do you feel like the ending of the game sufficiently answers all the questions?
From what I remember, I thought it sufficiently answered the questions. And it was, I'm not even going to say anything else. I'm going to send it I'm going to leave it right there. I feel like it's sufficiently answered.
That's all I need to know.
But we got to get closer to the ending, right? So
Teacher,
that means
give us our next section.
We have to play to the end of chapter 17.
All right.
That's going to be pretty much halfway through this episode, through episode 3. All right. So that's going to be 4 chapters. Why are we talking about what section we're going to play to? Well, that's because if you want to play to it as well, you can, and you can even discuss the section with us. Feel free to join our Discord. The link is in the description of the YouTube video or the listening platform that you're using. You can click on that link, hop in our Discord, leave any questions that you want. We'll answer them in there. We'll even bring them up in a podcast episode and give you a little shout out. So feel free to do that. If you don't want to play the game yourself, guess what? You can hop on our Twitch, BLKWHD Gaming. You can follow us there. We do try to stream the Game Club section. So feel free to hop in, watch us play. One of us will be playing it. If you do like what you're hearing and you want to hear more, make sure, whatever you're on, you give us a follow, a subscribe. You hop on Twitter and Instagram, BLKWHC Gaming. Follow us there too. Give us that support. We appreciate it. We are grateful for it. And if you want to talk to us in a more private sense, feel free to send us an email to blkwhdgaming@gmail.com. Guys, that is it for this episode. We're doing it. We are having some premonitions, and not just the normal kinds of premonitions. The deadly kind. I'm Peter Hoy with John Longaluca and Devon Colbert.
Hey, yo.
We are Black and White Gaming. We will see you next time.